Welcome to Speed Scene Live TV, the only show dedicated to the sportsman racer. Brought to you by Curry Rear Ends, Pedman Hustler Headers, M&H Tires, and TheFoat.com. With your hosts, Diana-Mite, Bruce Barker, and Scott Lucky Hudson.
Here we go. It's showtime. That's right. Get ready for another Speed Scene Live. It's Tuesday night. My name is Lucky. I'm one of the hosts over here, Diana-Mite.
Welcome, everybody.
Bruce Barker, he's in charge of the knobs, the dials, the gears, the shifters.
And the occasional giggle.
And the thingamajiggers.
Yeah, all that stuff.
We have got a great show tonight. We've got one of the most incredibly badass cars on the planet tonight. The big red Camaro, 1969 Camaro. And this is going to just be a fun show because this car, the owners of the car sat down and said, let's make the most awesome Camaro on the planet. We did it. If you think yours is better, come and get us. So we are going to talk.
I like that attitude, Lucky.
Yeah, we are going to talk to him tonight. Also, we're going to mention a little bit about driving fast and taking chances, the documentary of this incredible car.
And Donnie and Dar, well, they're going to be on the show next week. They're going to be the special hosts, and they're going to be here to tell us all about the California Hot Rod Nitro Preview. That's a California reunion out there at Auto Club Famosa Bakersfield. Last time they were here, we had so much great feedback. We're going to bring them back in. They had great guests, including Ron Capps. Plus, we've got great things coming up on a future show. We've got Mark Metters. Well, he's from the Good Guys. And you know what? I want everybody to call in and ask him about his race car and his racing. Top Fuel driver Adam Sorkin. We're going to have a ton of stuff, Lucky.
We're also going to have Ron Fleming. He is the gentleman that was in before for the VW Drag Days, the Bug-In. And they've got a race coming up at Irwindale, the Irwindale Drag Strip Spooktacular Hot Volkswagens.
Is that going to be around Halloween?
It is. It's going to be October 28th. Very close to Halloween. They're going to have a contest, costume contest. They're going to have trick-or-treat in the pits. They got a lot of cool stuff like that. Tonight we will have no Brian Layton, unfortunately. The PRP Seats and Belts Off-Road Report will return next week with a lot of info on the Powder Puff race. And tonight, Hot Rod Bob Beck will be talking about classic gassers.
Oh, it's going to so rock. Plus, October 12th through the 14th, the ANRA, the ANRA season finals at Bakersfield, the Auto Club Famoso Bakersfield location. That's this weekend. The California Hot Rod reunion at Bakersfield is coming the following weekend. A lot of action just a little upstate from here. Come on down or go on up and get a free Curry goodie bag. See the Curry Race Nova in person. We might get a glimpse at that tonight. A little teaser.
Nice.
Not maybe.
Nice.
Maybe. Plus all the cool nitro cars, nitro funny cars, and historic race cars.
That's right. They're going to sell you the whole seat, but you're only going to need the edge.
Be there.
Now, I'd like to go ahead and introduce our guest tonight. We're going to start right here next to me, Mr. Dave Ward, the crew chief. Dave, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Lucky. It was great to be here.
And next to you, RJ. RJ, you're the driver of the big red Camaro. Welcome to Speed Scene Live.
Thanks, Lucky. It's great to be here.
Hey, let me interject. Dave, what exactly is your title on this team?
Basically, team manager.
Team manager. Yeah. Okay, great. You know, we just want to clarify that. Team manager.
But you also are kind of the technical guy. You're the guy that sort of is, you make sure all that the hardware's working.
I have the final say. I have a great helper, Tim Fleener, that helps quite a bit and does a lot of the wrenching on the car and shows me problems that I might not see in the car. And,
he's crew chief.
Crew chief is good, yeah. But you're a great fabricator. You're a chassis man. You're a racer yourself. The 7-second Topolino that you compete in. So you've got great credentials for this kind of a team.
Yeah, I've been doing it basically all my life. I went to work for the actual builder of Big Red, Bill Osborne, back right after he had made Big Red, and so I've been with the car quite a long time and learned. We called it the school of Bill Osborne because he was a very talented man and had a lot of knowledge.
Now, RJ, tell us about this car because this is a great story. You built this car with your father. You raced it, and then you kind of put it in early retirement for a little while. Tell us briefly a little bit of the history of the Big Red Camaro.
Lucky, it goes back to the mid-'80s, really, when I was getting my driver's license, and my dad wanted to spend more time with me, and we both loved cars, and we're really into especially the old-style American muscle cars. And it started out as, hey, what kind of project can we get involved in with auto racing? And it really began there. I picked the car, the '69 Camaro, just because it was my favorite one.
The best. Yeah, we were just talking about that early. What Camaro is the best all the years? '69.
That's Diana-Mite's favorite Camaro as well. The 69.
What color is the best?
Yeah, red, of course.
Right.
Of course.
Now, is this an RS or an SS?
Well, really, it's an SS, a Super Sport. But for me, it was the hideaway headlights, the cowl hood,
Touché.
the spoiler, and that was part of it too. That we really wanted to make a car that looked stock of the time. We thought it was a beautiful car, and like you were saying, it was our favorite style Camaro as well. And in fact, the '69 was unique. That they only made that style for '67 through '69, and for '69 they changed the front clip.
Right.
To make it slightly a little bit wider, bolder, and so it was really a car that was actually only made for 1 year.
And the thing that I like about the '69, those back fender flares, I mean, they just they complement the car so well, so you can put those fat meats behind there, right?
Absolutely, and if you look at Big Red, we actually have the stock fenders on the back, so we haven't fattened it up even beyond what the car is. And for aerodynamics, and we just think for the original look, that's the best. So looking at behind the car, it looks a little bit like a dragster with the extra tire going into the car with a shorter rear end. But.
Now we're seeing clips occasionally of the digital readout on the dash where it shows you the mile per hour. And what kind of racing? 210.
That's the mile per hour, Lucky.
Yeah. I got distracted there. What types of racing? Because I'm a drag racer, but this is not a drag car. You're doing road racing, but you're doing open road type, like the Silver State stuff.
Absolutely. The car was actually originally built for the La Carrera race in Mexico, which was about a 125-mile race on the highway, similar to Silver State. Actually, Silver State was based on that race, and we just wanted to build a car that could challenge the fastest cars in that race, and that's really where it started. But from that point, we've always risen to the challenge of trying to put it into different applications, different races, and seeing how it can do under all different types of situations. And in fact, there's some guys that we race with that are road racers, and other guys like at the mile events that are drag racers. And it's one of the really unique things about the car is the wide variety of events we put it in.
It's very versatile.
Now, I've got some questions here. I'm on thefote.com. I'm doing crew updates while we're doing the show. And one of the questions somebody asked was, what's your best mile per hour? But before you answer that, I got to say I heard one of the coolest things before the show. We were talking, and Diana-Mite said, oh, is that helicopter footage? And you go, oh, no, helicopters aren't fast enough to film this car. And I thought, that's the first time I ever heard that.
It's an airplane. It's not a helicopter.
What is your best mile per hour in this car?
Okay, drum roll. No, I'm just kidding. No, our best time was 234, I think, .4. Right, Dave?
I think so.
234.4.
Wow.
Okay.
That was at the Mojave Magnum, which is a mile and a half from a standing start. And the car, we had the big engine in it. The car was running good that day, and we had a tailwind on top of that. And put it all together.
You're so modest.
And everything lined up.
It's true. I mean, everything,
The weather was good.
Yeah, I mean,
you had a light lunch.
Yeah, absolutely, the wind could have made, I don't know, Dave, 3-4 mile an hour difference, maybe?
Well, on Sunday, we ran the car, and the conditions were perfect again, other than there was no tailwind. There was absolutely no wind whatsoever, and it ran 227. So that's a total realistic time in the Magnum.
That's an incredibly fast car. Incredibly fast. Now, Dave, tell us a little bit. I know that you have two motors for this car. And, of course, I got to mention the motor builder, Larry, because Larry is an incredibly talented motor builder. Actually built the motor in my car, and I've never been happier. But tell us about the 2 motors that are involved with the car.
We actually have 3 motors, Lucky. The original motor we redid, Larry redid, and it's a 540. That was basically the original motor that was in the car from the origination of the car. And then when we got out of the museum and we started playing with things a little bit and decided we wanted to go faster, Larry and I talked about it and decided on the 598 with the 18-degree Brodix heads on it. And it made really good horsepower. And then we decided to try to step up even more, and we built another second 598 with 11-degree Brodix heads on it, and made another 100 horsepower off of it.
Now, was the 540, was that an aluminum block motor?
Yes, all aluminum.
Okay. And RJ, Dave just kind of glazed over a little bit about the museum. At one point, you raced the car, and then you decided to take it down to Laughlin and put it in a museum for a while. What's the story on that?
Well, the story, back at the time when we were originally doing this, we never thought the car would get the type of notoriety and popularity that it has. And I had been racing, we had raced other events with my dad. I had done GTU and GTO racing, even some SCCA racing. And at that time, I had graduated from college, and at that point I was going on to get my master's in business administration. And racing was something I loved and always wanted to do and always planned to come back to, but just at that time in my life we kind of just put things on hold. And I went away. I got my MBA in Indiana, and then I had a job in Charlotte, North Carolina with Bank of America, and it just kind of, it was a time in which we just weren't running the car. But eventually I came back to Los Angeles, and we just said, hey, let's do it again. We still have the car, and let's get it going. The story with the museum was just that the car had gotten such notoriety by the time that we stopped running it that we had people calling us saying, hey, we'd like to put it in the museum and keep it down here. And we thought, we were kind of jazzed with the idea. We didn't have any particular place to store it, and we thought, hey, why not? And it actually stayed in the museum for, I don't know, about 7-8 years.
Yeah.
And
that's a long time to just have it sit there and not use the car.
And I would have never thought anybody would have ever remembered the car. And we brought it out, and we fixed it up, and we started putting it in events again, and really the car was more popular than it ever had been, to our amazement. And it was just a lot of fun. It was just, even for me, by then, there was already history to the car. Me and my father had been driving it for a long time and really making changes on the car, and it was neat that it was still alive and still there. And the team, the team was still there, and the car was still there, and in a sense the dream was still there. And we kind of picked up from where we left off and refreshened up the car and did more changes to it, updated it, and just started running it again.
When you pulled it out of the museum, what fluid, after you topped everything off, leaked the most?
Actually, we didn't even try putting any fluids in because we knew that it would leak like a sieve. So basically, as soon as it got back from the museum, it came totally apart down to the frame and went part by part and replumbed it and rewired it and freshened the motor up and went through every single, even the fuel cell.
Yeah, it's the darndest thing. You put a car in a museum, people kind of tend to think, oh man, it'll be perfection when I get it back out. But boy, you cannot park a car for a long time without something weird happening.
No, always something. And then you have to drain all the fluids to actually put it in the museum, right?
Yeah, they wanted everything out.
Yeah, the car had to be completely gone through when we brought it back, and so we updated it, but it really needed a complete rework of everything.
Plus all the safety gear. All the safety gear's out of date. 7 years. Hey, let's take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about the big red Camaro. We're going to have Hot Rod Bob Beck talking about classic gassers, so stay tuned.
Wagner, host of Pastime, SpeedSceneRacing.com, Speed Scene Live. Are you kidding me?
Whether you have a hot rod that needs more hustle or a muscle car that needs more muscle, if it's more power you want, Hedman has it. Since 1954, Hedman headers have worked harder, fit better, and lasted longer than the new guys on the block. In fact, Hedman headers are so tough, they're guaranteed for life. So log on to Hedman.com tonight, because if it's more power you want, Hedman has it.
For over half a century, Curry rear-end components have been twisting out the torque and taking the punishment. And the new Curry lineup is stronger than ever. Some of the world's most capable, hardest-working vehicles depend on Curry gears, which is why you can too. Street cars, hot rods and resto rods, drag cars, rock-crawling four-wheel drive vehicles, whatever you're piloting, Curry expertise and rock-solid design means the parts will do their job, so you can do yours. Check out Curry's custom rear ends, featuring a full line of upgrades, components, and installation options. The Curry Crate rear ends lineup offers ultra-strong construction on third members and carrier assemblies. And other underside parts, like correct link steering systems, keep your four-wheeler pointed where you want it. Add in a wide variety of solid, purpose-built suspension and brake components, and you've got one tough, ready-to-go machine. Grab a hold of a Curry rear end. Talk to the experts at 714-367-2679 or view the complete line online at curryenterprises.com. Welcome back to Speed Scene Live TV with your hosts, Diana-Mite, Bruce Barker, Scott Lucky Hudson, the Off-Road Report with Bryant Layton, and the Great American Auto Scene with Bob Beck.
Indeed, Bob's coming right up. And, of course, Bryant Layton off tonight with the PRP Seats and Belts Off-Road Report. He's coming back soon, very likely next week. I'm Bruce Barker, and there's Lucky Hudson. And Lucas.
Yeah. There you go. And right over here, Hot Rod Bob Beck. He's the man behind the mic. That's right. Last week he told us he's sick, and well, he's still a little sick, I think. Somehow. Hey, Bob's going to talk about classic gassers, and I race a car in C-Gas, and a lot of the competitors that I race drive 69 Camaros in the gasser classes. So this might be something that you guys are kind of interested in. Your car is a very nostalgic car, but yet you compete against Lamborghinis, Ferraris.
That's the best part.
That's the best part. And it doesn't appear that you've done a lot of aerodynamic work on the car. It looks like a Camaro.
Well, that would ruin the look. That's a lot of the goal, is to have a 69 Camaro just the way we're not flaring out the fenders. We're not chopping it. We're not changing the angle of the windshield. It's a 69 Camaro. The idea of the one the guy fixed in his garage back when he was a kid.
That's the beauty. And Dave, you compete in a lot of nostalgic races. And yeah, thank you. And the trend now are these swoopy fiberglass bodies. You see a Camaro body, but it's low and everything's smoothed out. So do you get some more satisfaction working on an actual 69 Camaro body?
Oh, definitely. We've done a little bit aerodynamic-wise. You really got to know a 69 Camaro to see the changes we've done in it, but nothing really major. The trip rails are really the only thing we've taken off the car that's really nostalgic on the car. And,
I know. I was going to say, Dave, what have we done besides the rain gutters?
Not much.
That's it. The grill is still even the flat grill.
Oh, it's all original.
Is it plexiglass behind the grill?
No, we have a plexiglass front.
Front of the grill.
That we put on in front of the grill, so it's totally flat and it doesn't have any indentation into it at all.
Because I've heard that somebody told me once at the drags that at a certain mile per hour, I think it's 200, the nose starts to raise up if you don't block that air off.
Oh, interesting.
So absolutely. The front of the car is very flat. The windshield has a steep angle, and it's something you definitely struggle with. That as you get to the high speeds, it's not cutting through the air the way it should, and it starts pushing it around. And that's something that's definitely different than the real Exotica cars you see that are half the height that Big Red is off the ground.
Now, do you have a chin spoiler to try and keep it down in the front?
We do. There was a stock one on it, and we actually just had the stock one on it with some bar sniffers behind it for a long time. But since then, Dave has upgraded it, and he's made a custom one that's still very similar to the original one, but is a little bit bigger, boxes around, has a little lip on the bottom.
The problem we had though with the stock one is they were always breaking. I mean, they weren't made to go 200 miles an hour, and we come back from a race and the thing would just be almost in pieces. So we ended up having a carbon fiber one made with, like RJ said, a little bit different shape, and it's finally holding together.
Yeah, when he says breaking them, it was not only the stock one, but he'd put bars behind it to hold it into place. Yeah. So even then, it would fold up and curl up and get crushed around the bars. So now he just went to. He does fabulous custom work, so he just builds us exactly what we need.
Well, he's taken his Fiat and made it look like a Fiat.
That's right. That's right. That Topolino that looks exactly like a Topolino. It looks odd with that huge motor sticking out of the front, but
motor.
Well, Bob, tell us what you got going on for the great American auto scene tonight.
Well, good evening, everybody. I'm Bob Beck, and you've got gas as usual. And this time we're going to talk about gas, or gassers anyway. But when you think about Tri-5, when someone tells you got a Tri-5 car, you think about 55 to 57 Chevys.
Indeed.
They were not the only thing on the planet at the time.
Indeed.
So what we're looking at is some of the gassers of the day and some current replicas of gassers of the day that were Fords. Now, here's a B-gas car, and it's a 56. Here's a 57 Ford for you. And, in 1957, Ford actually outsold Chevrolet. But for some reason today, every hot rodder wants a 57 Chevrolet, and they're more popular. They're so popular, they're back in reproduction. You can get a real steel 57 Chevy, but it's not even a Chevy. But I like Fords.
I'm confused.
Yes, that's it.
Hey, wait a
56
minute.
Fords. Now look at that one. How about that?
Well, it says Galpin Gasser. Is this a reproduction? Because there's a local dealership called Galpin Ford.
It's Galpin Ford. Galpin Ford's been in business for decades. I remember going there when they first opened up over in Sepulveda, it was at the time, and that was back in the early 60s. But this is a current car, as this car. And a lot of the styling cues of a lot of the Gasser style or FX style cars are coming back, and a lot of guys are building straight axle cars, or what's called the straight axle. It's not necessarily straight, although on this car it is. Some of them are the beam type axles or the dropped axles, much like you see on a hot rod that they used on the Willys and cars of the day in the gas classes.
Sure.
So guys are recreating these. These cars, some of them were gassers that actually raced. Some of them are current cars that people have taken and made into what was an old gasser. But when you come to Tri-5, some of the most beautiful Tri-5 cars are not Chevys, guys. They're Fords. And here's a beautiful 57 Ford. It's a sedan, lowered down. It's got the big stance in the back, big tires, and it's a drag car. It's a current drag car, and I believe that shot's taken up in Vegas at the Strip. So this car actually sees duty on the drag strip.
That's a great-looking car. I love the way that the nose is on the ground.
Yeah. Now, here's an actual gasser of the day. This is a 55 or 56 Ford. Now, I'm not really that fluid in those, and some of them I can't tell the difference between a 55 and a 56, and I'm sure I'm going to get a couple of notes from guys saying, well, it's easy. Well, yeah, maybe. But, guys, guess what? Here's a 57 Ford. This is a gasser from the 60s. And one of the things that gives the 60s part away is the scoop on top is reminiscent of the Thunderbolt, and somebody has fiberglassed it into the steel hood.
And note the headlights, which have been replaced by these huge air intake things. I mean, there's like a 3-inch horn on the front of those.
Yeah, and all it was to get ram air inside. Now, how well that actually worked, I don't know, but they were good. They looked good.
Well, it makes the car look very surprised.
It does. It looks like there's a vacuum cleaner there. Here's a car that was in a show recently. It's a 57 Ford. Now, I don't know if it was a gasser in the day or it's a gasser-style car of today, but the styling is coming back. Even Hot Rod Magazine has built a couple of gassers or FX cars, altered wheelbase cars for the street, and they were doing it on the power block as well.
Hey, now, clue me in, Bob, a little bit on what's the, availability, the status. You can get reproduction tires, essentially new radial tires that are like the fronts on this car. What's the deal with the rear? It is a wide white, but it's some form of a slick or something.
Yeah, you can get reproduction wide white wall slicks. Moon Eyes has got them. Talk to Chico down there. You can get wide white wall slicks. They run them on a lot of dragsters. They're sticky rubber. They're reproductions of the old M&H or Hurst recaps.
I got you.
And they are recaps. In some cases, some of them are fresh tires, but some of them are also recaps. Now, here's an actual gasser of the day. Here's a 1955 or 56 Thunderbird. I think it's a 56 if that's the original top. 55 didn't have the porthole. 56 did.
Yeah, although it doesn't have that vent on the side.
The vent on the side would be a 55. or 56.
Yeah,
55 didn't have it.
Who knows? Maybe they replaced the top.
Now, here's a nice black and white shot, so I'm assuming in the early black plate, this is probably a 57 Ford that actually either was a hot street machine made to look like a gasser, and a lot of guys did it. It's got a Ford cross spring in the front, buggy spring. Here's a shot from the day, Milan drag strip in Michigan.
Oh, look at that.
And that is a real deal car, judging by the GTO alongside it. It was about 1966, 67 vintage. Now, here's a new car. Built currently, because those 10-spoke wheels did not exist except in spindle mount back in the early days. It's got the 60s-style Thunderbolt hood bulge. This is also a current car, and you see it on the street. This is not a drag car. This is a high-riding, straight-axle street machine.
Interesting.
You know, I got to tell you, when I was a little kid, my mom's car wouldn't start, so she took one of my brother's car, which was a raised-up high car like that, and drove me to school, and, man, I was king for a day.
There you go.
Ah, nice. Ooh,
all right, now here's the current car, Chop Top 57 Ford. Again, not a gasser of the day,
wow,
but a fun machine of today. It looks like someone stepped on it.
Yeah.
Now here's a car that's fender well headers, got all the right stuff for the day. This is a beautiful machine, and it was at a recent car show. That is a big block Ford with injection on it. It's got a straight axle. You got a better shot there of the motor so you can see it. I bet Les up north is probably drooling over these things because he's putting together a 60 T-Bird.
Oh, I know.
He's going to go gasser racing with it.
Man, I've seen pictures of that. Ooh, that's going to be so nice.
Here's a nice 56 Ford. Now, I believe that's the 56 with the Vicky side trim. And that's
what happened to the grill? Where'd the grill go?
Aerodynamics. Yeah. Here's a shot of this other 57 Ford. They dressed it up a little bit this time.
They put a blonde next to it.
That's it. That makes every car look a lot better.
It so does.
All right, now here's a current shot of a current car, but this is an actual race car. Altered wheelbase, 57 Ford. Look at him carrying the front wheels up. And that's another reason they went to the straight front axles. They could take the beating of the landing.
Oh,
man,
sure.
Look how far forward that one was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, legend claims there that's Gary Coe's car.
Yeah, yeah. Now, this one is a car of the day. This is not a new car. That is a shot from the 60s.
Dang, look at these things, man.
And here's another shot. Wheels up. You can see the straight axle hanging out. 10-spoke spindle mount wheels. No front brakes. Here's a current car. It's a fun car. It's at a car show. A lot of guys building these now for the street. So the gassers, the Tri-5s, doesn't have to be a Chevy, guys. Build a Ford. Be different. Be daring.
Be daring. And, of course, you're going to see all manner and sorts of engines in these things, too,
That's
right?
it.
Some people stick to Ford. Some people put a nice big fat Chevy in there. Whatever.
Well, you know, some of them are built Ford tough with the Chevy stuff.
Yeah, well, there you go, man. Hey, vive les différences.
That's right. Yeah, and remember, build it the way you want it, drive it, enjoy it. Here's a Crown Vic. Restorers are probably cringing over this. And I want to thank the guys at the Hand, the hokey-ass message board. I stole the pictures from them today.
Yeah, you guys rock.
Right. This one I put in here, I just had to show it to you. That's an old Y-block Ford with a factory supercharger and dual quads.
Now, that would be a Paxton,
Paxton back then.
Is that like off the T-Bird?
Well, it was also available on the full-size Fords.
Oh, okay.
The F-Bird had it, but so did the full-size Fords of the day. It was an option. Very few were ordered, but it was there and it was available.
Man, and
this one's for you, Bruce. It's a 58.
Oh, look at you. Grabbing a 58 there, which was, in a whole lot of ways, a 57 with a different front end, although all the trim and everything was
different. Front end, different tail lights, different trunk, different hood.
Really, for some stupid
reason... Well, the
reason,
doors were the same.
Well, yeah, I know. That's about it, really. They even retooled the tail fins are about, an inch taller or something.
Yeah, and it had the double bird tail lights in the back, so it looked like the Thunderbird of the time.
Oh, look at this.
Under construction. Wagon.
I'm thinking Bruce is getting some inspiration here. He's thinking of some of his cars at home going,
I got a call from the paint shop this afternoon, that big fat Lincoln. It's ready. We're going to see that thing.
I can see a straight front axle Lincoln.
Awesome.
We're going to have it painted on the side. Hot Rod Lincoln.
You're going to drive me to drinking.
Yeah, you, sir.
All right, here's a Canadian 57 Ford for you. So it's not just like the Americans that do this. Here's the Canuck.
That is the Meteor, isn't it?
Yeah. And I don't know if those are wrinkle wall snow tires, but it is from Canada.
Yeah, and you can sort of spy the double oil filters underneath.
He's got double oil filters. Get all those particles he leaves and he does his launches.
Yeah.
Catch those bearings before they hit the engine.
Yeah, and all those starter teeth and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Bob, great job. Hey, I got a question for you.
Yes.
How many car shows do you attend a year?
There's too many days in a year to figure that one out, but I'll give you an example this weekend. 4.
4 in one
really?
weekend?
4 in weekend. I started out in Ventura. I ended up in Loma Linda, then Palm Springs, then Palm Desert, back to Loma Linda. And this weekend is going to be just 3 a week. Don't forget NHRA Twilight Cruise Wednesday night if it's dry.
Oh, yes.
Then Thursday we've always got the drags. That's kind of a show too at Irwindale.
If it's dry.
If it's dry. Saturday is going to be the Falcon Club of America Regionals at the NHRA Museum.
Nice. Regionals?
Regionals. It's the regional show for the Ford Falcons. They're going to flock down there. Yes.
Nice. And they're not falconing around, are
no,
they?
they're not falconing around. No. And then Sunday, it's the Road Kings at the Santa Anita Raceway. Come on in, 400 to 500 cars in the infield of Santa Anita. Watch the horses race and see all the cars on the grass in the infield.
Beauty. In other words, just a million shows this week.
Yes.
Kind of a light schedule this week.
Yeah, there's a light schedule. I get to only be in 3 cities on the weekend.
Yeah.
Reminds me of a Ted Nugent album, Intensities in 10 Cities.
Yeah, that's it. There you go.
Great job, Bob. Thanks a lot. That's
Thanks,
Hot
guys.
Rod Bob back
You
with
got
the
it.
great American auto scene. Always happy to share his gas with you. Well, RJ, what'd you think? You saw some great classic gassers, some very unaerodynamic cars.
There were Fords, so, I don't know. I'm a little skeptical,
Yeah.
Maybe if there were some Chevys in there, but I don't know. No, I'm kidding. No, they're beautiful cars,
It's always the Ford-Chevy debate, and the Mopar guys are going, what about us? Nobody hates us?
And then Dave sticks in with the Fiat. With the
Yeah, well, I don't even know what to do with a Fiat.
Go fast.
What's a Fiat?
Go fast. Go
Fix
fast
it
with
again,
the
Tony.
Fiat.
Now, Dave, I've seen yours for years. Is it a steel body car?
No, it's fiberglass. It was
Okay.
built by Fiberglass Trends, actually, that built them back in the 60s.
Long days. Long ago, yeah.
Wow.
So, but we tried to keep it a shorter wheelbase looking car
Yeah.
as possible to keep it
is.
dated.
And to make sure people know that, it says dinosaur on the side.
Yeah.
Now, you actually competed in the Nostalgia 1 class, which was 760, and you did real well. Did you win? Have you won a championship?
We actually won the first NHRA Heritage Series Championship back in, I think it was 2008, and we've won ANRA and ANRA Championship at Bakersfield 2 years in a row.
See, I was trying to be nice. I wanted to say you've won multiple championships, but I figured I'd ease in and let you break the news.
But it's not just me. I have a partner in the car, Bob Dietz. So I drive it and he tunes it, and between the two of us, we get the car down the track and hopefully for the good.
Does it help having two chiefs? Is it an asset or
I think so.
just an ass?
No. He's definitely an asset. So
Now, you are the team manager, and you have somebody that helps you make decisions on the big red Camaro.
Yes.
And is it a similar deal? You kind of put your heads together and come up with the what's best for the car.
exactly. We look at the car over and we have a direction we want to go, and he looks at it and I look at it, and we talk it over and mull it over, and maybe within a week, sometimes that we'll keep talking over just to come up with the right game plan for what we're doing. And he's from the school of Bill Osborne also, and he knows basically the same amount of stuff that I do, except a little different here, a little different there. So between the two of us, we try to answer all the questions we need to answer to make the car go fast and be safe.
Well, RJ, tell us about the Mojave Mile.
Well, one thing I was just going to say real quick about what Dave was saying is, with our team, a lot of this stuff is new territory, and so lots of times when we're talking about doing things, we're combining combinations of things that people haven't done before. So it's something we really do as a team when we talk it out and we decide what the next move will be. The Mojave Mile is a mile event that it got started along with Texas Mile, and a lot of these other mile events have been popping up around the country. They're all similar in that they pretty much always do them at airports where they got enough flat, straight runway, roadway to do it, and they're always a standing start. You do 1 mile, and it's not for time, but it's for speed, and it's for
So it's kind of like
through the traps.
Kind of like a drag race, only longer, and you're looking for the highest mile per hour.
Correct. Yeah, drag race is really for speed, and guys can win or lose just on the light. At these mile events, there actually is no light. They'll even drop the flag, and I'll even get comfortable for a couple of seconds and then take off, because it really makes no difference. It all comes down to just speed through the traps.
I noticed there it said 218 at the Mojave Mile.
Yes, 218s are the fastest we've done in any mile event. We did the 234 at a mile-and-a-half event, so yeah, for the mile events, it's 218.
I can't even imagine this.
That's actually that's one of the interesting things about Big Red. Most cars are pretty much doing what they're going to do in the mile event, and it's unusual that you'll have as much of a difference between a mile event and a mile-and-a-half event, because usually, if the car's going to do 230, they'll sometimes even do it in the mile. But with Big Red, we have such drag, and with the lack of aerodynamics that we're pushing, the car's still accelerating. At the end of the mile, we're doing almost 220, but we're still accelerating.
It's kind of cute how you always refer to the car as Big Red. It's got its name, it's got its identity. It's Big Red, right?
It's something that it's something I've gotten used to over the years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we referred to it that way in the beginning, but
it's not like it's the car. It's Big Red.
It's a person. More and more so. We've even talked about this. We're starting to do videoing stuff about the car, and people ask, "What is the video about?" And I always say, "It's not about me. It's about Big Red."
Right. And I myself, I've been to Willow Springs, and I've run the course in a little Mini Cooper, and I've seen a lot of cars go off the track and do all kinds of in the dirt. Has your car ever went off the track, off the beaten path?
Well, I tell you honestly, if you're going fast and you're a racer, you've gone off the track.
Okay, so really, if you haven't gone off the track, you're not trying hard enough.
That's basically true. I'd like to say I've never put it off, but unfortunately, this guy next to me, Dave, has seen me put it off probably one too many times.
Cleaned a lot of rocks out of the car.
Yeah, and unfortunately, when you go off, it happens real quick, but it's hours of cleaning up the car,
but
and the dust and the rocks.
Never tumbled it over or anything like that.
We've come close, but no, I've actually never rolled it.
Okay, good.
Now, I was watching some of these other cars, and they had a Volkswagen on there, the Herbie the Love Bug, and I think it said top speed 86 miles per hour. So that's what you were competing against?
Right. That was actually the only other naturally aspirated car. No, I'm kidding. No, we had good competition out there.
Now, we've got a question here on the crew update on thefode.com. Do you have to run special tires with Big Red?
Absolutely. Depending on the event we're running, will depend. In the most extreme events, like La Carrera and the Silver State Classic, where we're hitting over 200 miles an hour for long stretches, the tires are probably the biggest issue and probably one of the most important things, and something me and Dave have talked about and been struggling with since we've done these races.
That's your weak link for a car like this.
Well, now, we were talking earlier about the tires, and don't you have a computer that tells you exactly how hot they get?
Well, now, they didn't back when we started, but now, you can have these sensors that can tell you how hot the tires are, and your first indication that the tire is going bad and, in fact, will come apart is it starts getting too hot.
Right.
And so that's why it was really a tremendous safety thing. Although there's nothing you can do about it. If you see a tire getting too hot, our plan was literally just to stop before it blew up. Because that's actually not uncommon in those races where they hit those kind of speeds. One problem with radial belted tires is that the steel in the radial belts gets hot and it actually delaminates the tire. So you're pretty much stuck with a race tire that has nylon, and those are much more delicate too. So you have other concerns.
And that can really damage the car. Not only can you possibly wreck if it's a front tire, but when those radials come apart, they just rip apart the side of your car.
Yeah, correct. And then at those speeds, it's something you don't want to have happen. So that's always been a big concern of ours. And even the top-rated tires aren't rated as fast as we're going. So, they tell us that they're probably good at those speeds, but,
Probably.
Well, let's take a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more. We're going to see some shots of the Curry rear ends, Hedman Hustler Header Nova up at the NHRA Heritage Race, and we're going to do What's Going On. Stay tuned.
Hi, this is Crazy Connie, and when I'm not doing wheelies, I'm watching Speed Scene Live.
M&H Tires, makers of racing tires that give you the best bite for the buck. You paid a lot for that horsepower. Make sure you use it all. M&H Tires has the best compounds available for maximum traction. Go to mandhtires.com. That's mandhtires.com. Buy direct and save at the website and mention the Speed Scene for a 5% discount. That's right, mandhtires.com. Call them at 661-324-4773. M&H Tires has tech guys ready to answer your questions or to recommend the best tire for you. Slicks or DOT. M&H Tires has it all. M&H were the first to create racing tires for muscle cars and also the first to create racing tires for sport compact cars. Legendary M&H Tires. Shop online, mention the Speed Scene, and save 5%. Get the best racing tires, great personal service, and save 5%. Go to mandhtires.com or call them at 661-324-4773. MNHTires.com.
Whether you have a hot rod that needs more hustle or a muscle car that needs more muscle, if it's more power you want, Hedman has it. Since 1954, Hedman headers have worked harder, fit better, and lasted longer than the new guys on the block. In fact, Hedman headers are so tough, they're guaranteed for life. So log on to Hedman.com tonight, because if it's more power you want, Hedman has it.
Everyone in the armed forces that has served to defend our great country and our freedom, all of us here in the United States of America would like to offer our sincere appreciation for all that you do and all that you've done. To every family that has made a sacrifice for us, we thank you. Welcome back to Speed Scene Live TV with your hosts, Diana-Mite, Bruce Barker, Scott Lucky Hudson, the Off-Road Report with Bryant Layton, and the Great American Auto Scene with Bob Beck.
Oh, yeah, and it's another Tuesday night. You're live with Diana-Mite. We've got Scott Lucky Hudson here.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about everything, including himself, as well as Bruce Barker back there with the controls. I did just throw that little tad bit in. We've got Dave and RJ. They're talking about Big Red. Right, guys?
That's right. But before we do, and you know, I'm somewhat hurt by that remark, Diana-Mite, but I'm going to put all that aside so I can talk about myself.
Of course you are, Lucky.
We had the debut of the Curry Rear Ends wrap out there. We had the Hedman Hustler headers out there, and the Nova was looking and running as good as it ever has. And so we got a few shots of it at the NHRA Heritage Race. Now, I didn't really do that well at the race this last weekend, but
you were better than 50% of the people out there, Lucky. So you know what? Pat yourself on the back.
I was better than at least one guy. Maybe not even, because he beat himself. So, but I managed to finish the season number 5 in points, which is okay. And I want to thank NHRA for getting their points up so fast. This is great. A couple days after the race, boom, season points are posted. And I would also like to thank the folks at Jegs.com, because was placing an order with them, and turns out they're big fans of Speed Scene Live show. So
they actually recognized you, huh? Lucky?
Nice talking to them. And anyway, great feedback. Everybody loves the new look, and really happy to have the car out at the track. And you know, it's not big red Camaro, but it's a big red Nova. Well, it's a tiny red Nova. I don't know. What do you call
big
it?
Red Nova. Come on, look at Curry really pops with those flames, Lucky. I think that came out very nice.
Now, RJ, I don't want to see you guys putting any black flames on the Camaro, okay? Because you've got a certain look, a historic, traditional look, and luckily I don't have that type of history, so I can pretty much do what I want.
No, I like it. I like the flames. It's reminiscent of the time, of the era. You know, we were just going for the look of a completely stock car, but this is, you know, your car is what people did back at that time. You know, what they did with it after they bought it. You know?
So you went for the complete stock look of a '69 Camaro that does 220 miles an hour, right?
Well, that was the angle. See, the angle is how fast it goes. It's the ultimate sleeper. So it wasn't a question of having to make it look flashy. It was, hey, let's make it look like it's just the regular old '69 Camaro.
Grandma's
just took it out of
grocery getter.
I just took it out of the garage.
Sure.
You know, going for a Sunday drive, that type of thing. And then, oh my God, you know, look how fast it goes.
Well, remember your dad originally in the start of the things wanted a big block, which was all aluminum, painted all Chevy orange, because he wanted to look like a stock 396 or 427.
No, that's really true. You know, that whole way of thinking about it did come from my dad, and from the start, you know, he always wanted people to never understand why the car was going so fast, and just seemed like it was a surprise to us too. And he said to all the guys, he said, paint the engine block the stock orange, and everyone even said to him, they go, Dan, you're crazy. They're going to see the milled part of the aluminum and see this shiny part. He goes, I don't care, paint it orange. So, but to this day, it's still painted orange.
He does what he wants. Yeah. Now, I want to mention that there is a film coming out about your car, and I believe the current title is Driving Fast and Taking Chances, and a great title. And now the film's not ready to be released. I hear it's still in production, but on a future Speed Scene Live show, Diana-Mite, we're going to get more details.
Well, Lucky, you know, you can always go to YouTube, or you can go to their Facebook page. You can get updated information about it. Right, RJ?
Absolutely. You can go to our YouTube page.
What's your channel?
Yeah, YouTube / The Big Red Camaro.
The Big Red. And you know what? I bet you just did a search on The Big Red Camaro, it would pop up, wouldn't it?
That's what
Absolutely.
I did.
Yeah, a lot of people have posted stuff on
it. It's not only stuff that you post, but a lot of stuff that fans of the car post that, hey, I was at this event, saw the Big Red Camaro. Look, you got people posing in front of it.
So now, this is going to be kind of a documentary, right?
Absolutely. It's just, you know, over the years that we've been doing it, I've always wanted to film some of it, and it's really only lately that the technology with these cameras has gotten to the point that we can do it. Sure. And we're just trying to put it together now. Put together.
Now this would be perfect for, say, something like the Discovery Channel, or you know, something of that venue.
National Geographic on the Taboo show.
National Geographic, Lucky. But I'm saying like the History Channel, where you know there's the history of the Chevy Camaro. Gosh, even like say maybe GM or Chevy would like to pick something up like this up and get it sponsored for you and get it on the air. I think that would be great.
I think it's a natural fit.
You know, this car is so beautiful, so fast, so powerful. You know, it's just so much fun. You know, the more I watch it, the more I love it.
Think about it. With Chevrolet bringing out, reinventing the Camaro right now, and that puppy is selling like hotcakes. I see the new Camaros everywhere. For them to get a hold of something like this, the history of the '69 Camaro, you know what? They would be a fool not to.
Well, it's obvious they agree with us, too, because they've decided to rebuild out of all the cars. They've gone back down to the '69 Camaro and rebuilt it for their new car today.
That's right.
It's, you know.
Now, we were talking a little bit earlier and during one of the commercial breaks, and you mentioned that you guys, something you haven't done yet that you're thinking about is you're thinking about taking the car to Bonneville.
Absolutely. You know, it's one of the obvious events that Big Red seems like it'd be a natural for, that we've never done it. It has, you know, just like all the events we do, it has a lot of particular things about it, and it also tends to make the cars extremely messy afterwards with all the salt. But, you know, that's never stopped us from doing anything with the car, and I think that's going to be our next challenge. And right now, Dave's been actually looking into the records and trying to figure out what combination might be the best for us to debut the car at Bonneville with. But it's something we're talking about now.
Well, I saw a tagline from one of the magazines that said something like "insanely evil." Do they have a class called "Insanely Evil"?
No, but I think they should, and I think we'd win it.
I see you shifting there. Is that a 4-speed?
It is. It's a 4-speed transmission, and it's a little bit of a challenge on the mile and a half events, just because we have to space the gearing so far apart. But, and a matter of fact, to that point, it's something we're talking about putting a 5-speed in it, just for that issue.
So would like the 5-speed kind of be like a little overdrive thing for those long trips?
It's just another gear to evenly space out the gearing. Right
he gets
now
bored with just 4.
That extra shift.
I have 6 with the Mini, so I completely understand.
When you're the kind of guy that drives the big red Camaro, your attitude is always, I want more. Yeah, I mean, isn't that really it?
Absolutely. I mean, it's always been, at the end, we did 218 in the mile. Well, we want to break 220. I suppose if we broke 220, we'd probably break 225.
Well,
but yeah, it's a little bit the nature of racing.
I totally understand. As a drag racer myself, it doesn't really matter how fast you go. You always want to go faster. We started with lucky 14s, went to 13s, went to 12s,
17s.
11s,
we started in the 17s.
Did we start at 17s?
Yeah,
I
with
don't remember.
283s
I blocked
with a 2-barrel.
that out. That was you and that El Camino. That wasn't me.
It was still fun. It was still fun, and every step of the way is fun. Now, I've never been able to say I've gone over 200 miles per hour.
Do you have one of those little T-shirts, the 200 Mile an Hour Club?
Yeah, they do. In these different events, they give you different shirts for different speeds. And so we've gotten a couple from Texas and a couple from Mojave.
Cool.
Now, is this car naturally aspirated or blown, or what are you doing here?
It's naturally aspirated. It's always been. It's one of the things that keeps it stock looking, with a stock hood. And,
no blower, no turbo,
no turbos, no blower.
Nitrous?
We up until recently.
That's what the nitrous guys always say. That's what they always say.
Wait, let him finish. Up till recently, what?
Well, the engines have to be built to use nitrous, and actually the first two, the Peanut and the Bullet, are not set up for nitrous.
Okay.
But when we built the monster motor, we said, hey, we're going to have that same problem I always have. When we want more power, what are we going to do? And so we said, hey, let's plumb it for nitrous. And actually that means it's got less compression, and it's actually been set up quite differently. And actually has probably takes away about 50 or 100 horsepower. Right?
Wow. And
just because it doesn't have as high a compression as the Bullet motor. But that said, we do nitrous, and it'll have a lot more than the Bullet motor.
Sure. At the once you press that little button, Lucky and I always said nitrous makes you go faster. We would always race against racers that would have nitrous and say, yeah, nitrous always makes you go faster because you use nitrous. It makes your engine go boom, and then you build a bigger and better motor, and you go faster.
Oh, I see the equation there. Okay, I get it.
Because that was back in the days where people really didn't know how to use nitrous. They just plumbed a ton of it in and utilized it, and,
the engine builder, Larry Molcani, he was probably the one that had the most trouble with it. When we first started talking about using nitrous, he was the one that, I guess, no pun intended, but started putting on the brakes. And so, but we kind of kept pushing. We said, Larry, what happens when we're at one of these events? We need more power. What are we going to do? So, kicking and screaming, he went along with it and really set up an engine that can handle it. And that's how we actually we're getting about what we say, it was like 1,250 horsepower.
Wow. No, we're over 1,300.
Actually, no, yeah, that's right.
When we hit the button, we get 1,300 horsepower.
Over 1,300 with the juice. So.
Yep.
Wow. My. Now, Dave, tell us a little bit about the infamous monster motor that we've heard so much about. What is that?
It's a 598 with 11-degree heads, Brodex heads on it, and it's about 13-to-1 compression. We cut down the compression just because of the knowing that we might push the button for the nitrous, and we also had the cam ground, so it took away a lot of the bottom end, because the other two motors we have at any of the miles that we run will blow the tires off the starting line, and I've been having to take a lot of timing out of it just to keep it from doing that. So by having a cam ground to take a bunch of bottom end out, give us some top end, which we need, we accomplished that. I don't have to take any timing out anymore. And the other thing is, we can't hit the nitrous button until third gear, or it's going to blow the tires away. There's no traction, enough traction there to hold it at the tracks that we're at. They don't put any VHT or anything down. It's just a little bit of rubber that the competitors put down. So
you kind of have to get that rolling.
That
before.
Momentum.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
So by third gear, he's pretty well set, and then he hits the button all through third and into fourth a little bit.
So how long do you think he's pushing that button for?
Probably about Up to 15 seconds probably
Wow,
total.
that long,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah, and that's a long time for
And
nitrous.
that's
Yeah, it is.
We have a nitrous guy that we build our system back east, Steve Johnson, and he was real hesitant on how this is going to work because it's a totally different style that he's used to of the way we need to use it.
He's used to drag cars. You know,
Exactly.
you're just going to do it for a few seconds.
Exactly.
So do you hit it and then let off and keep racing, or do you hit it in the last 15 seconds? How do you use nitrous in this application?
I wait till I'm in third gear and the car's loaded, and then I keep it down all the way. I'll even keep to the finish. Yeah.
Wow. Good for
Even
you.
shift it with the button.
Good for you. And
Wow.
how many times do you think you ran nitrous in that motor?
Oh, not that many times. It's how many runs do you think we've done? 10?
Yeah, probably 10.
Probably 10. Yeah, we don't do every run with it. I mean, sometimes when we initially take the car out, we just want to test it, make sure everything's running good.
Get a baseline, too, for what's going on.
Yeah, and kind of, and so, it's about a 200 horsepower kit.
Now, I got to imagine you're competing against, like we mentioned, the Testarossas, the Ferraris, the Lamborghinis, cars with turbos, twin turbos, superchargers. So to be able to go up and say, well, yeah, we're just going to go and we might have a little nitrous, but it's basically a big block Chevy, that's quite an achievement.
Yeah, absolutely. And, if they were stock Ferraris and Lamborghinis and all that kind of stuff, we'd beat the pants off of them. It's only that these guys really come out with twin turbos and highly modified cars that even allow them to beat us.
High dollar stuff, huh?
Well, it's all high dollar stuff.
It's
They say
all
how,
high dollar,
how fast
yeah.
you want to go is how much you want to spend.
You just throw more money at it. You make it go faster. Throw more money.
That said, though, Big Red costs less than what these other guys are spending, just because we are naturally aspirated. These guys get into these big turbos and superchargers and stuff. And
Well, it's time for us to do What's Going On. And, of course, What's Going On is brought to us by who, Diana-Mite?
It's brought to us by Curry Racing Rear Ends. Curry's got your rear end ready and waiting for you. It's also brought to us by Hedman Hustler Headers. Right, Lucky?
And DragRaceResults.com, the great place to go to find out about all the big buck bracket bonanza races. Now, where are you going to be next with the Big Red Camaro? Where are you guys going to be out there tearing up the track?
the next event is the Big Bore Bash at Willow Springs International Raceway, and that'll be November 3rd and 4th. And it's a vintage race where they'll be doing road racing, and it's really exciting because you get to see Big Red do fender-to-fender racing and passing, and just have a lot of fun out there.
Well, that ought to be a lot of fun. Cool weather, nice, good horsepower, inducing altitudes. That ought to be good. Diana-Mite, what else is going on?
Well, October 12th through the 14th, ANRA season finals. Come on down and race with us. Lucky, he's going to be racing in Seagas. That's at the Famosa Bakersfield Auto Club Raceway.
Man, I can't wait. You know, the car ran good last weekend. It actually ran a little too good, so I'm going to slow it down a little bit and try to do well, and always have a great time with Butch and all the ANRA racers. ANRA.com for more info.
So, darn, you're going too fast. Boo-hoo. All those people that are just trying to make their number going boo-hoo. Poor Lucky.
I got to run a number, and we put the flames on, and it made the car go faster.
Yeah, that's what it must have been, that and those Speed Scene Live stickers. October, again, the 12th through the 14th, the Tennessee Tuck Triple Crown Race. That's going to be at Bowling Green, Kentucky. This series has over $350,000 up for grabs.
October 12th through the 14th, Quaker City Motorsports Park has the Great Pumpkin Race. They've got juniors. They've got a bike sled combo class. They got box, no box. They're in the Halloween spirit. They will be racing Freaky Friday race and the Cauldron of Coins Saturday and Sunday.
Well, how about a full week of racing? October 21st through the 28th, the Halloween Classic at Summit Motorsports Park at Norwalk. This is the world's largest Halloween party. I mean, can you imagine partying for a whole week long while you're drag racing? Bring the kids out, trick-or-treating for everyone. You'll have a blast.
And on Halloween night, no race cars fire up. The pits are silent. everybody decorates their pits, and the kids get to walk around safely and go from pit to pit, and they are expecting 1,000 racers for this event.
Well, so that probably means 1,000 kids, too.
1,000 pieces of candy.
Yes, racers, make sure you bring bags and bags of candy to give to those kids. The 19th through the 21st, the California Hot Rod Reunion. That's going to be at the Auto Club Bakersfield Famoso Raceway.
We will be out there with the Curry Rear Ends Hedman Hustler Header booth. And, hey, Diana-Mite, don't forget about that Volkswagen race October 28th.
Well, I'm not going to have my notch back out of the shop, Lucky. I just won't be able to make it, darn.
But it's spooktacular.
Yeah, my notch back will look like a spook if I bring it out of the paint shop too soon.
Well, October 26th to the 28th, the NMCA race will be at Bakersfield because Fontana's just not quite ready yet.
We still have our hopes up, though, don't we?
We are, man. We're pulling for them. Mm-hmm. We're pulling for them. We hope to be racing there next season, but for now, the NMCA will be holding their last season final for NMCA West at Bakersfield, and I will be racing in Nostalgia Streetcar.
And the 22nd through the 24th, the 19th annual all-new Farmington Dragway Money Fest race. That's 5, 10, and 10K.
And check with your local track because, you know, a lot of tracks will be having a big Thanksgiving race. They might have some kind of a Halloween race. You know, support your local track. You know, Las Vegas does a big bracket race every Thanksgiving.
And how about, you know what, Irwindale still has those Thursday night races, right, Lucky?
I guess. I don't know. I never seem to hear anything about it.
Maybe they should be calling us and telling us about it.
I don't know. Are they still in business? Or are they closed again? Or?
No, Bob would have told us otherwise. Don't forget Verona down there in San Diego. We love those guys down there. Best 8th mile in Southern California.
That's right. And when you're going to race the Mojave Mile or the Silver State Classic and you look in your rearview mirror and you see a red 69 Camaro,
get out of the way.
Move over. Hey, I want to thank RJ and Dave. Thanks a lot, you guys, for coming on the show. It's been a lot of fun talking about your car, and you know, we'd love to have you back on the show again later and do some more stuff about the big red Camaro.
Hey, Lucky, absolutely. I just want to thank you, Diana-Mite, and Bruce for having us. We've had a great time. Love talking about the car.
Great. Is there anything you want to add before we go? Dave?
Catch you next week? How about that? That sounds good, huh?
Catch you next week. We'll see you at the racetrack.
Bruce, take it away, dear.
Thanks a lot. Too glad to do that. Great to meet you guys. Great to have you in. Great to see you and you and all you guys again too.
And you,
yes.
but not you. Not that guy.
Yeah, so on you, Bruce.
Great to be seen.
It's really been great. I'm just kidding. No, it's good seeing you too, Bruce.
Next week will be the show with
Dar and Donnie.
Dar and Donnie-Mite will be doing a season preview for the Hot Rod Reunion and see if Donnie brings his Cuban cigar. He's got it in his hand right there. And they're going to be, who knows? Last time they had all these great guests, so we'll see who their guests will be this time. And there you're going to find a lot about the Hot Rod Reunion, one of the best races of the year. So make sure you tune in for that. And all the other great guests we have lined up for the rest of the year.
Nice. The live show thus be done. However, commenceth momentarily will be the encore presentation of tonight's show. Check out the archives page and as well the Speed Scene Live YouTube channel where you can go back a whole bunch of months and check out shows that you might have missed. For tonight, thanks so much for joining us. We're going to be back 1 week right now from right here at Speed Scene Live.
Speed Scene Live TV, the #1 online motorsports TV show. Brought to you by Curry Racing Rear Ends, M&H Tires, and TheFoe.com.